Before listening to this episode, remember that we are currently selling our token. You and your friends will be able to make part of the seasteading ecosystem. Visit veryon.io for more information. And if you want seasteading to go to your country, we now have a Blue Frontiers global contest with a final prize of $100,000. Make your own seastead. Visit bluefrontiers.global to win the possibility of bringing a $60 million investment to your city and the chances of hosting our second seastead.
Hi, I'm Joe Quirk. Welcome to the Blue Frontiers podcast about all my favorite things: seasteading, the environment, special economic zones, and innovation in science, technology, governance, and society itself. Today's podcast brings you Marc Anielski, the author of The Economics of Happiness, which focuses on measuring the wealth of a country based on the well-being of the population and not just on indexes like GDP. Marc was in Tahiti measuring the happiness of Arue, a municipality in Tahiti. Now, here's your host, Natalie Meza Garcia.
Hello, I'm here with Marc Anielski, author of the amazing book that I read in 3 days called The Economics of Happiness. Marc is right now working on his latest book called The Economics of Wellbeing. Marc, very, very welcome. I'm very happy to be here with you in Tahiti. It's been amazing to meet you. How are you?
I'm good, Natalie. How are you?
I'm great to have you
Good.
here.
Nice to be here.
No, I'm glad.
I'm so glad.
Marc, can you tell us about your book? Why you're an economist? Your background is in economics, but you've taken a very unusual turn for an economist, which is to measure really important aspects of our lives that are not connected directly, at least that people don't directly connect with money, which is well-being and happiness, and backing the wealth of a community, a society, or a place with natural assets. Please explain us about your magic theory. Beautiful.
Well, my theory isn't necessarily magic, but you're right. Economists focus on measures of progress that are mostly money measures, like gross domestic product, and there's many reasons for that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but money is something that most people don't understand. In the first place, money, a certain amount of money doesn't, there's a certain amount of money that buys a certain level of happiness, or
Yes.
where one leaves, and there's a sort of plateau that one reaches, and that's what the science is showing. So my interest in the subject was over many years as an economist with government, macroeconomist, and
Yes.
so I look at the GDP numbers, and we use those numbers to develop policy.
Yes.
But when you look at the GDP numbers and the origin of GDP, which comes from something called national income accounting,
Okay.
which actually was introduced only in World War II by John Maynard Keynes in Britain, and the reason the British wanted to measure GDP, or gross national product at the time, was to determine what's the cash flow in the British economy during the war, so they could tax the people basically for the economy for the war, to pay for the war.
Okay.
Right? And it was part of the motivation. And after the war, national income accounting became a common standard for all nations, except countries like Cuba or China. The communist countries didn't really have GDP because for them, maybe the money wasn't as important to them. Maybe their political ideology was more important.
You're right.
So we don't have to go very far back to say, well, why are we so obsessed with measuring progress by money measures, and why aren't we measuring happiness? That's a fundamental question. I mean, if you ask people on their deathbed, what would you say you're most grateful for? The amount of money you made, or your children, your grandchildren?
Yes.
The things you did,
Yes.
the people you loved, right?
Yes.
The things you saw in nature.
Yes.
So all of these things, what I would say is the things that make life worthwhile aren't getting counted.
No.
we're not asking people about their happiness. We're so focused on these money measures that we're completely missing the boat. We're not, we're as economists, we're not. Now, economy means household stewardship, household
Yes,
management.
oikos and
Oikos,
nomos.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
nomos house.
Uh-huh.
Oikos is household. Ecology means household knowledge. Oikos logia, right? And then we have all kinds of words like competition, which in Latin means competere, which means to strive together. Now, the word mortgage in
Oh.
French means a death pledge.
Yeah.
Our mortgage, a pledge unto death, right?
Uh-huh.
So we have this language that we use in economics, but it's terrible, or it's been turned, twisted, wrong.
Like deadline also.
Yeah.
The word deadline, which is something that all of us use as a writer, for example, you must be very
Mm-hmm.
familiarized with deadlines, but its origin is where I don't remember which, well, basically a deadline was where people were placed in a line before being killed. With,
Firing squad.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, a firing
firing
squad.
squad. Yeah. So over the years, I've been an economist since 1984 when I graduated from university.
Mhm.
But I'm also a forester. So I studied forestry and I'm a professional forester.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I
But
didn't know
I'm a
that.
combination. I'm a forest economist or ecological economist, which means that forest economists think about how do you value nature.
Wow.
But the word value from the Latin valorum means to be worthy or strong. It's not just about the money expression of something, right?
Yes.
So all of these things I would teach my business students. I taught at the University of Alberta in the School of Business. I
Yes.
taught corporate ethics, corporate social responsibility, and entrepreneurship. And I was a founding professor at the Bainbridge Graduate Institute in the Seattle area,
Yes.
where I taught sustainable economics. Um, and so my
Sustainable
students
economics.
said, you have to write what you're teaching us. You need to write this down. So that was kind of motivated me to write my book. I would have never written the book, probably.
Really?
No.
Oh, well, thanks to your
Yeah,
students.
my students like, you got to write it down, and I
Wow.
said, we could just sit and have a beer, have the iPhone in the middle of the table, and record our
Ah,
conversation. You just ask me questions like you're asking me, and
wow.
by the time in a week we'd have a book, wouldn't we? A Socratic dialogue,
Wow.
right?
Uh-huh.
So this is what I've been doing for a long time now as a consultant is measuring well-being, trying to bring that into how governments operate, local governments or First Nations. I work with Indigenous nations in Canada,
And in Tahiti.
and I'm
That's
in
why you're here
Tahiti.
in
And I'm
Tahiti.
measuring. So 5 years ago, I came here. I had many hours with President Oscar Tamaru, and 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 it sort of laid out a platform for French Polynesia
Yes.
that you could design an economy de bonheur, an economy of well-being or happiness. Um, and well-being is maybe slightly different than happiness. Actually, happiness is a Greek word, oidaimonia, which oi means well-being, and
Okay.
daimonia, spirit, soul, right?
Oh.
So it's the well-being of your soul. Like that's not just about how I'm laughing, smiling, in the moment.
No, it's deeper.
It's deeper.
It's deeper.
And I study history. I study like America's, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas Jefferson wrote that. What did he mean by happiness?
Yes.
Did he mean well-being of the spirit, or did he mean something else? Right? We don't know for sure.
Yes.
But these are the things I challenge economists to think about.
And how do we measure happiness? Let's first talk about happiness and then about well-being. Is that
Mm-hmm,
okay?
mm-hmm.
How do we measure happiness? You have a set of questions that give you indexes of, they are very connected to the relations you have.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about how do we measure happiness? We have here a rooster in the back, by the way. We are very connected to nature in the place in which we are. I hope you can hear the birds in the background.
Yeah, I hear the chickens because the chickens wake us up in the morning. And maybe they don't make us happy when it's 3 in the morning and the rooster is like, it's not time for coffee yet.
But that's happiness.
But so the happiness question. I mean, we could ask one simple question. on a scale of 1 to 10, how
Uh-huh.
happy do you feel?
Okay.
You could say from a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your life? Those are the two questions the, that they're asking now every year, the global Gallup poll. Okay, so all the nations now are ranked by those questions. Is it a sufficient question? I don't know. So I go a little deeper. It's like, so what specifically
Mm-hmm.
makes life worth living
Mm-hmm.
in your community, in
Yes.
Arue? What is it? Tell me
Arue.
three things.
Arue is where you're working here in Tahiti.
Arue is a portion of the island of Tahiti. It's called a commune.
Yes.
So in the traditional Tahitian, uh, Tahiti is the heart of all Polynesia. So Hawaii is a young sister. New Zealand, Aotearoa is a young sister.
Yes.
Tahiti is the mother. And so the islands are broken down into commune, what they
Yes.
call it in French. I don't even know what it is in Tahitian. And Tahitian, I'm saying Tahitian, the language
Yes.
Tahitian. So there's pieces of land that went from the ocean, from the shore to the mountaintop, little slivers,
Like a cake
like a cake.
without the center.
Yeah. So
bone.
Arue is at the top of the octopus called Tahiti. Tahiti, if you look at it, is an octopus. And the Tahiti Nui is a big part.
Yeah.
Tahiti Iti, yeah, is the little. It's on your arm, exactly.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
map. I have a tattoo of a fractal, but it has the shape of
But
Tahiti.
it's Tahiti.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was really beautiful because when I noticed the similarity between Mandelbrot Set and the Tahiti map, I
Yeah.
was already working here in Tahiti, so I thought that this was meant to be. Me being here,
Wow.
I'm meant to be here.
Yeah.
I have it on my skin already.
There you go. So
Yeah.
it's a fractal. So isn't it interesting? I'm only learning this from coming here now. It's like this is my third visit here to Tahiti. But so Arue is the top, like the top part of the head of the octopus, and it's actually the spiritual connection. It's the geographic connection to Hawaii.
Okay.
So if you drew a line from the bottom of the big island of Hawaii, it would connect straight to
Arue.
Arue.
Oh.
And Arue is also the center, the cultural heart of Tahiti. It's the spiritual heart of Tahiti. And so the project we launched on Monday when I came here, so now it's November 27th, 2017, just to be on record, is was we called it initiative Te Aroa Ai Rahi, Ai
Te-
Arahi. So, aro. So aloha is the Hawaiian, we always say aloha, but
Aloha.
aroha is how Tahitians pronounce it, and it means love.
Love.
So the theme of the project is let your love grow,
That's beautiful.
which was a line that one of the elders, well, he's not as famous as you might think you should be, but he came up with these beautiful insights into Tahitian culture. So we were at his house with his son, who's in his 70s now, and he's buried there, right where the family house is.
Wow.
The father who came up with Te Aroa
In the garden.
Ai Rahi.
Te aroa ai rahi.
Yeah.
How do you see that the people from Arue or Tahitians in general live by that phrase? Because I know that it's a very happy culture.
Yeah.
It's very well connected with nature. We were discussing recently. You told me that there is no concept for months here.
Yeah,
and
no
we
concept of time, which is hard to believe, other than maybe the way the constellations move seasonally. But yeah, so for them, I think their happiness. I'm just learning this. You have to actually slow down. I
Yes.
think you have to be here long enough to go.
Yes.
You get into the rhythm,
Yes.
and they don't really like schedules. They feel it's not that but they move sort of like with the wind,
Yes.
with the palm trees. They dance that way. It's an easy going, and so the Tahitians I learned don't have any words for months. No word for November. It's only we're in the abundance season now. What does abundant mean? Well, it's raining, so it'll start raining more and more until it'll be raining till March, and
Our
the
March.
our March, yeah, our March, thank you. And then begins the dry season.
Oh.
So the wet season means that there's fruits and the fish love it. So there's abundance fruit and food and fish, and then the dry season you live through, and hopefully you have enough stored to go through the dry season. So
Yeah.
maybe there's only 2 seasons.
And not having schedule, not living by the schedule, by the clock, means that you own more your time, which, for what we talked in these days, is your most valued
Yeah,
asset
absolutely.
that you own.
You speak. Every child born gets $1 million put into their account, right?
Uh-huh.
Value, because it's your time, and by the, but you're really not using your time for work. You're not contributing at society. You're a child.
As a baby, no,
Right.
unless making your mom happy.
Yeah, okay,
Helps.
maybe by 7 or 8 you're helping mom and dad clean the house, or so okay, that's maybe some in the household that's worth something.
Mhm.
But in society it's unless you're helping in the community, and then that time is useful and valuable, right? So
Mhm.
but then you're okay, you're an adult and you want to, what are you here for? What are your gifts? I don't know. What is Natalie here for? I don't know. But
Yes.
some people know. Like the Cree people say every child born is an answer to a prayer,
Wow.
right? So that your grandparents had a prayer, had a dream, right?
Yes.
And brought you, your parents brought you into the world, right?
Yes.
Because there was a dream that you're going to do something,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mhm.
so none of the questions, what are we here for?
What are we here for?
Are we here to love?
We are here
Are
to
we here
love.
to create the space of love, to honor the fact that we are created in the image of love? At the very least, we should be
Yes.
thinking about that.
Like, if you think of humans and our role in nature and on Earth, we are simply one species more. So if you think of a teleological purpose, there's not really any specific purpose why humans
Right,
exist.
right.
Which means that all we need to do is to use in the best way possible this space that we are given,
Yeah.
that we live. And the best way to do that is by means of love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you think, oh, it might sound like a throwaway word, love. Like we can throw that word around.
Like, oh, I love coffee.
Yeah, but love I was taught by one of my mentors that love is an action. Like it's a verb.
Mhm.
It's not just a feeling.
No.
And so we love through action, through, right?
Yes.
Through being with others, through relationships, through
Yes.
relationship with nature. So yeah, it's such a beautiful. So the language, and I've learned that the Tahitians and the Hawaiians have very few words, because they realize, I think, that they don't need words. Everything's about frequency and vibration and singing, and so it's like, wow. So when we say Hawaii,
Hawaii.
breath, breath over water,
Wow.
breath over sacred water.
Wow.
Hawaii. It's a it's a word that
Hawaii.
actually frees you, it cleans you, you know.
Yeah, it sounds clean.
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Right?
Hawaii. I'm going to start saying Hawaii instead of how are you.
Exactly. Hawaii. Oh.
Oh,
Okay, I
hi
need to go.
Hawaii. Oh.
So we have 750,000 hours of when we're born. That's how many hours you have roughly in your
Oh.
hourglass, right?
Okay.
In
Wow.
your clock. And so it's interesting that, so when we think about, well, how much time do I spend working for money?
Mm.
How much time do I spend with my my partner, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my friends, in nature, all those things that make life worthwhile. Um, of course, we also have to maintain the household. We have to
Yes.
tend the garden. We have to get food. We have to clean
Yes.
the house. We have to, right?
Yes.
There's things that we need to do to contribute to society.
Oh.
So,
Yes.
but the question is, how much time? How
Uh-huh.
much time is necessary? So one of the big things that I started to investigate is, why is it, first of all, if value is nothing but what we consider worthwhile, and it's not necessarily linked to money, then what is money? Like what does money express
Mm-hmm.
as an asset, or is it connected to anything? And you learn, and I've learned this over the years, is money is nothing but a social invention.
Yes.
The Tahitians and actually ancient Taiwanese, who are also the origin of Polynesian, I
Yeah.
learned that too, use seashells. So if you go back to the indigenous people of Taiwan,
Yes.
they're cousins of Tahitians.
And they look very much
Yeah.
alike.
So what do they use for money? Seashell,
Wow.
right? So
Wow.
they didn't use gold coins or other. If anything, the shell was a token. It was just a token, but and in the island of Yap, they have big round stones that they collect, and they use these big stones as representation of their wealth,
Uh-huh.
right? And they have to, but these stones don't exist on the island, so they have to go and to another island, carve the stone, canoe it,
Oh.
send it, canoe back. Hopefully, the stone doesn't fall over because it's stormy.
Oh,
And
meow.
once they get the stone back, they're like, "This is my stone,
Wow.
and this represents the power of maybe my household." And I just lay the stone there, and it's always there now. That's
Wow.
interesting.
That's very
And the
interesting.
stone has a hole in it, like the
Uh-huh.
Chinese money, old money,
Oh, yes,
hole in
yes,
it.
yes, like the coins.
Yeah. So
Oh.
why did they circle, hole in the circle, two circles? That's their money.
Wow.
So all of these ancient traditions of money are there in front of us, but so what did we do in our imagination and creativity? We created money as in computers, and we first of all we used wooden sticks called tally sticks in Britain. These little these oak sticks that represented money, and that started in 1068. Um,
1068. Okay.
or roughly 1098, when William the Conqueror became king, unified, the King of England. So that's when those sticks started. Uh, Obviously, they never met the Tahitians because they had stones or shells, and so money then became something that the banks created by
Yes.
simply creating loans,
Yes.
book ledger entries. So now money is nothing but digital. It's just
Yes.
it's nothing. It's actually not connected to anything real. There's nothing backing the money except our faith that this French franc is worth buying a McDonald's meal,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
And so it's really about our faith, our trust in the money. But if the money, then the question becomes, who creates the money?
Mm-hmm.
Who has the power to create the money?
Uh-huh.
Well, you think we do. We're the people, right? We have the power to make as much money, create the money as much as we need for society. And it's like, no, that's not true.
No.
It's who has the power? The private banks have the power.
Yes.
The banks in London, the banks in New York, the big banks, right? The banks in Paris. And so
Yes.
they're the corporations that have the power to create the lifeblood of our of our society, right? The energy. That money is energy, right? So money, we then trade our time for something called money, and the money, we have no power or sovereignty over the money, but we have
Yes.
sovereignty over time.
Yes.
At least we hope so.
We.
But
The more to
but
prove.
then, if you think about it, we're all slaves to the money system because we don't have the power over the money system,
No.
and we have to go into debt to go to
Yes.
school, to buy a home. We have to go to the bank to get the mortgage.
Yes.
We can't just say, look, I have 750,000 hours of life energy that I want to invest because in ways that I think could contribute most with my gifts.
Uh-huh.
That should be the money system.
Have you seen that film where money is the currency? The name escapes me right now, but basically, everything your work is paid in seconds. And those who have more economic wealth can buy more time. So people who don't have that much money are always running out of time, and when their time runs out, they die. So then a revolution takes place that hacks the system and distributes all the seconds into
Yep.
everybody to create a more
Yeah.
egalitarian society.
Yeah. And that's what's happening with Bitcoin, right?
Exactly.
It's happening, but it's still not it's still not an ideal system. You have to have a system in which nobody could tell you how to use your 750,000 hours. Nobody. That when you're born, it's time is your bank account.
Wow.
Now you decide. I want to do a PhD. Go ahead, spend 8 years. Be crazy. Go study some political economy for 8 years at Warwick, or go ahead.
4 years.
I'm going to sit in Tahiti for the next 8 years and eat coconut. Go swimming with the whales, right? So it's
Yes.
but
I'm
maybe we
going to
need
do both.
maybe we need a PhD in or whatever political theory, But maybe our PhD is learning from nature,
Uh-huh.
learning how to
Yes.
heal, learning how to sing and dance and
Uh-huh.
just I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying I don't think Tahitians are lazy.
No, 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 no.
Some people might think so.
Yes. It's just that they have a different measure
Yeah.
for time
Yeah.
and different priorities and values.
Right.
Which
So I'm
is
learning at the more isolated communities like Bhutan, places that have been isolated from materialism and the money system, seem to be the most highly happiest. There's
yes.
remote islands in French Polynesia. There's lots of little islands I don't even know about
Yes.
where only every 3 months a plane flies there,
Ma.
right? And so what do you do in 3 months when you're waiting for, what are you waiting for? Cigarettes? Money? Maybe not money, because money in a society where there's 100 people on an island doesn't matter, does it?
No, no, it
It's
doesn't.
like what matters is the coconut trees are healthy.
Yes.
So they need a coconut forester,
Oh, yes.
right? The guy that plants, like Marc's brother Alexander, like Marc Collins' brother says, this one man plants a tree every day.
Every day.
And he has a way of doing it that makes sure that all the coconut trees are healthy,
Wow.
right? Because if you over harvest a coconut, it crashes, right?
Yes.
The ecosystem crashes.
Yes, and it's a network.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in Rapa Nui,
Yes.
Easter Island, they have a very healthy, also very isolated from the rest of the world, but they have culture of reciprocity. So
Yes.
the food is equally distributed. When there's a giant lobster catch, every household gets
Wow.
2 lobster, and there's a picture. They laid out 93 families. They laid out on the pier, on the dock, 93 equal portion
Wow.
of one fisherman who came back with this huge lobster catch.
Wow.
Said, okay, everyone has 2 each,
That's
or whatever.
that sounds really perfect.
I know. And so no money needed. Just there's an agreement that everyone shares. The Inuit in the Arctic, where I've worked as well, same culture, shared.
Yes.
Why? Because without sharing, they wouldn't survive
Mm-hmm.
in that cold, harsh climate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's kind of so when you look at what are the characteristics of happy cultures,
Yes.
I think we actually don't really know. We haven't done enough research into um, learning from their wisdom. And they're not in the list of UN places either.
Mm-hmm.
Denmark or Norway's always number one, but
Uh-huh.
you won't find Rapa Nui. You don't even
No,
find Tahiti.
you won't find French Polynesia.
No,
Exactly.
French
No.
Polynesia isn't even listed on the UN Development
No,
Index.
you won't find Cuba, for example.
No.
And Cuba is a place. There's something. There's also a link. I don't know if I want to know your opinion on this. I've seen that places that have moments for dancing tend to be happier. Like Cuba, where everybody talks dancing, like Tahiti, where dancing is
Spontaneous dancing,
exactly
yeah.
spontaneity.
Yeah. I know dancing drives me
Barranquilla,
crazy,
Colombia.
but I'm just joking. No,
Dancing.
dancing is it's a release. It's experience of just creative joy, right?
Joy.
I don't care what your style of dancing.
No.
Just move. Just
Freedom. Yes.
feel the music. And it's in the nature too. When we go into nature, like when we go on holidays, what do we talk about? You talk about the
Beautiful.
sunset. You talk about the beauty of
Yes.
nature, or the most amazing meal. But that came from the beauty of nature too.
Yes.
So it's like, wow, nature actually wants to heal us, right?
Yes.
We have to renew that relationship with nature.
How can we use the economic systems to get there?
Um, well, I think we need to, I mean, part of it is we need to address the money system honestly and say, it's not that there are bad people, that the bankers are all bad. I mean, they go to work, they don't, most of them don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think that has to heal. We have to do what the Hawaiians call ho'oponopono. Pono means to make right. So pono means to make right what is right. So what is right?
To make
What
right.
is good? Is is it good that everyone should have enough income and never go to sleep anxious about tomorrow's paycheck?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we do that? Yes, we can.
Yeah, we could.
We could do it tomorrow.
Mhm.
We could give everyone in the world,
Mhm.
poverty would end tomorrow
Yes.
if the billionaires distributed their money, as this Time movie talked about. Just hack the system,
Yes.
distribute, and everyone will have enough money and never be anxious again.
Yeah, I understand why you're called the most dangerous man in
Most
Tahiti
dangerous
right
man
now.
on the island.
You have a book about happiness. You are one of the happiest men I've met.
Aw.
You are very open, very joyful, very tranquil. You're above good and bad. You live your life on the basis of what makes you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
And yet, and
And-
therefore, you
but-
are the most dangerous man.
But at the same time, I also, I get moments of it. I mean, I'm obsessed with money, partly because I think that's why I'm here, like because I understand it now.
Yes.
But I don't want to fight it, and I don't. It's not an enemy. It's like it's a challenge. It's a design challenge.
But you seem to be solving it when you propose using natural assets to
Yeah.
back systems created on the blockchain.
Right.
Can you
So we
explain?
could use all this fancy new, people. Oh, blockchain is so exciting. It's like that's what nature does. Nature is the most fantastic blockchain.
Wow.
And we don't even understand nature. We don't understand photosynthesis. We don't know how the sun creates the green, creates, like, we think we understand. But, so we're creating, interesting that we're now all, like, excited about blockchain or Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, like,
Or the C coin, which is
or
going to
the
be.
C coin. I mean, coin. But we have to be careful that these initiatives don't get us back into the same situation,
I hope
which
so.
is a few people can control the system,
Yeah.
hack the system. No one can hack your time. No one can steal your soul. Oh, maybe some people think they could try. No one can. No one has a right. So my vision is that, first of all, on the personal level, everyone has their hour, their time clock.
Yes.
And no one owns your time. I don't want a system, I don't never want to see a system where a blockchain, cryptocurrency is one in which, your time can be stolen by somebody else or traded or used as an asset. No way. Every hour is worth the same value.
Yes.
I don't care if you're a catatonic person or you're double PhD, right?
Yes.
Your hour is equal to
Yes.
that hour. In nature, we can create a cryptocurrency, which I've tried to do with some First Nations in Canada,
Yes.
where you say, well, nature is the model of abundance. So nature's assets deliver what? The tree
Life.
grows life, fruit, oxygen, carbon dioxide, habitat for animals.
Mm-hmm.
All of those assets can be measured, and what we want to do is live just off the interest of nature,
Yes.
just off the, without, and nature wants us to tend to it. Nature wants us to say thank you to it,
Yes.
right? That's what Mother Earth wants. Just say thank you. Don't just take.
Yes. Plant
Give
a
back.
coconut. Exactly.
And that's what the Tahitians showed me yesterday. You say thank you
Mm-hmm.
by bringing a leaf. You didn't bring a stuffy toy or an iPhone and put it on the temple. You brought a leaf with a stone, and you sing a song, and you just say thank you. And so nature will give abundantly if we're in the right relationship.
I agree.
If the pono is right, then then even the money system I'm talking about will be irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be completely irrelevant. except for those of us who think that order systems are necessary to optimize some type of, I don't know, optimize some function. What function, right?
An ad hoc function that reproduces itself.
Maybe. So I think we have to be careful with technology. I think we have to be not get so caught up in, oh, we designed a new, I don't know. I mean, I know where you're working on this, this island, this floating island idea. It's great.
Yes.
It's cool. It's innovative. But what does Pele say? The goddess of fire, of lava, of land, right?
Yeah.
What will she teach us, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that the answer to that because we're so Western. We're in our heads. We're like, wow, we're so romantic about our technology. And it's like that's nature's the technology.
Mm-hmm. That's
What
why.
does nature teach us? How do we mimic nature?
Oof. There are so many things we could learn from nature, all the way from how to make better glues to how to self organize our communities in a better way.
Right.
Because nature has billions of years of expertise, billions of years. It's
Billions.
not a couple of hundred years in
Yeah.
testing a political system or a few decades in a monetary
Yeah.
system. Nature has 4.6 billions of years of expertise in optimizing functions,
Yeah.
functions of energy, functions of quantity, functions of reproducibility,
Right.
on control. Also, nature balances really, really well the evolutionary line of life,
Yeah.
which creates and evolves and creates and evolves, with entropy, the destroy death,
Yeah.
basically. So nature, you can think of the wisdom of nature as a line that tends towards the creation of more life,
Mm-hmm.
and a line that goes in the opposite direction, that by means of entropic behaviors, by means of disease of existence of some of these life forms, it creates a balance, and a perfect balance that makes it reach an equilibrium by not over polluting,
Right.
over
It's called
creating.
homeostasis. Right?
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly. So nature's always moving towards harmony,
Yes, that's the word.
resilience,
Yes.
right? And
At the-
nature is resilient. Will it deal with shocks and hurricanes?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes,
A tree can't be strong unless it has wind. We learned that with
exactly.
biosphere too. It's like the trees fell over because there was no wind.
Uh-huh.
It's like what? The wind made the wood, the xylem and phloem, the structure of the fiber of the tree, right? Resilient and strong.
Mm.
So, and I think, well, the interesting thing about humanity, I think, is that we also have studied like things like consciousness and, saying we're created, if we're created in the image of the creator, of God, then we are created with love. So love is who we are. Aroha. That is the only truth.
Aroha.
Aroha. Aloha. Aloha means love. So when you say aloha, you think, oh, it's not just like hi,
No.
greetings, buongiorno, whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, no, it's like, I love you. That's what it means.
Wow. Also,
And it's so powerful when you say I love you to somebody.
yes, when you
It's like, well, wait a minute. It's like, I never hear that. Or, how often do we hear that in a genuine way? And
yes.
so all of creation, I think, like holds its breath for us to say aloha.
Wow. Tahitians say Yorana, which means may may happiness be with you, may love be with you.
Yeah.
Yorana. So every time you say hi to someone, you are wishing them beautiful things in their life.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful
I
things.
just you just say, hey, dude.
Hey, dude, what's up?
What's up? What's up, dude? What's up, man? Yorano.
In Spanish, we also say "qué más," which means "what more." And every
Ah,
time someone says
¿qué
it, it's
más?
"qué más." It's very informal,
What's
but
more?
what's more? Like I haven't told you anything yet. In
I
Chinese,
just started.
in Chinese, when you say
Ni hao.
"hi, how
Ni
are
hao.
you?" the first question. So in you know that we say "hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
In China, they say, "Hi, have you eaten today?"
Ah, ni hao, and then what's the next part?
I don't speak
Ah,
Chinese yet.
but oh, that is fascinating, isn't it?
Have you eaten yet?
Yeah,
That's the first
it's
thing.
funny. I'm checking time.
Oh, I have here.
Oh, we have a few more minutes.
When is your birthday?
May 10th, 1960.
Okay, so May month 5th, 1960.
Yeah.
So if you have lived 690 months, 21,019 days, and 504,455 hours.
Wow, I want that calculator. I'm closing in on 750,000.
You should you should celebrate your birthday based on the number of hours.
It's true. You're right, it's true.
Yeah, I know that when your
Wow.
first billion is around when you are 33. Your first
Mm.
or second billion of seconds. I don't remember if it's 1 billion or 2 billions, but
Oh, seconds,
of
yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met someone recently who was gonna be 33 soon, and he was going to celebrate his billion second.
Wow.
Yes.
So I also believe that, like the Tahitians, perhaps maybe that's what they're reminding us all. Like, time is in the long run, time is irrelevant. Time
Yes.
is a circle. Like it's only because we are born and die. But to me, eternity is eternity. Your soul, your spirit, isn't just caught here for a short time in a body.
Nature will be here even after we die.
Yeah, and that's why we see the elders. The elders are there,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're there in the orbs. They're there when we say all my relations, the indigenous people in America. Like when you
Oh.
go into the sweat lodge, the dark, right, womb with the stones, the grandfather stones. You say before you go into the little hole, you say all my relations.
Wow. All
So
my
you
relations.
call in all your relations
Your
into that space,
ancestors.
all the ancestors, and they're
Wow.
there. So it's like this is just like a short time
Mm-hmm.
of right.
Yes.
But still, we think, okay, great, we're gonna celebrate all the seconds I was here. All right, great.
Oh.
But I think if I have a challenge for people, it's like, look at the things that I've learned
Yes.
in those many hours, right, of living, and how I wish other people would be aware of all of these things, all these gifts that we weren't taught in school. You hear them through journeys and conversations, and coming to places like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, wow, we could really design a different economic system that's
Mm.
actually honors that wisdom.
Without that not meaning non-profitability,
Right.
because ultimately that's also a goal when you have an economic system. So a lot of people might think, oh yes, nature is beautiful, but how does that speaks to money? So I know that you
Yeah.
can actually calculate
Right.
the value of natural assets and get results of how preserving nature can increase the value. You did this with the Inuit, no?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing
In
it.
billions.
I do it now, but even then, it's like it's a joke. Right? It's like, well, okay, you have $1 billion worth of natural gas, right, or trees. So, $1 billion. Okay, that's $1 billion now, but in 50 years, that billion is only half a million because it's right. It's eroded its purchasing power. Why does that happen? How could money lose its power? Because too much more money is created than anyways, it just gets complicated. But the monetization of natural resources is also a bit of a joke. It's just sort of like, pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
stop being obsessed with this money wealth and material wealth,
Yeah.
and pay attention to what nature's doing. Nature's
Mm-hmm.
providing these services for free right
Mm-hmm.
now.
In Jupiter, it rains diamonds.
In Jupiter, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it rains diamonds.
Yes.
If it rains diamonds, then diamonds wouldn't be worth anything, right? If every
Uh-huh.
drop of water was a diamond,
Uh-huh.
you'd be like, well, diamonds are on this planet, there's a big bowl of diamonds. And they're like, what? On Earth, I could, right? It's like seashells. Seashells are abundant, but not in America. The shell that they use here, the cowrie shell, the original money, is not available in North America.
Okay.
It came from here. So, but it was used as wampum, in America, as
Yes.
the shell sewn onto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
So those are all the things that we should probably
close
that interview, so I can go back to Papiete.
because time is running.
Unfortunately, I have to eat lunch. And I can't wait because it's going to be fish.
Oh, well, Marc, thank you very, 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 very much for being here. It's been
Thank
a
you.
great week since I met you, or a few days. It's been I don't know, and
It's
I don't
a few
care
days.
how long.
It doesn't matter. A few hours.
A few hours, they feel like a week because it's been really nice to meet you and to talk to you, to see that you reflect your book. And I'm looking forward
Thank you.
to your. Yes.
Thank you for saying that.
No, you do.
Sometimes you don't know. It's like I just life is just one foot in front of the other, and you don't know why the book touched somebody or made them think. Or so thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I value.
Yeah.
I value in the right way what you present in the book.
Oh.
So I'm looking forward to your new book.
All right.
And let's close with a I love you.
I love you. Aloha. Aroha.
Aroha.
Yorana.
Yorana Nana.
Yorana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Blue Frontiers podcast. To learn more about our work and find out how you can support the project, visit blue-frontiers.com or visit our social channels. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Blue Frontiers, or shoot us a note via our website. If you learned something and enjoyed the show, tell a friend or leave us a positive review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and remember to join us for the next episode. See you next time.